Now, I've never been to Six Flags personally, but I've heard it's not a bad theme park. I eat up theme parks, so it's hard for one to disappoint me, to be honest. Six Flags as a company has over 26 parks in the US, and fun fact, the name actually originally referred to the Six Flags of the nations that had governed Texas at one time or another. So that means Mexico, France, Spain, the US, the Republic of Texas, and the Confederate States of America. I actually didn't know that, so I love being pleasantly surprised by my own facts, lol. Now, I've really liked the recent abandoned series we've been doing. If you don't know, I did abandoned Universal projects. Lindsay and I have done 2 parts of abandoned Disney projects, so check them out if you haven't already. What is up, you guys? Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host, Eamon Hassan, and welcome back to another video. Let's just jump straight into this one. These are the top 10 abandoned Six Flags parks. Starting us off at number 10 is Six Flags New Orleans. Now, this was the one coming up the most in all my searches, so I thought it was only fitting that we started with this one. Now, this 140-acre park originally opened its doors in 2000 as Jazzland, but was leased by Six Flags from 2002 till 2009, and that's when its name was changed. However, tragedy struck in the morning of August 29th, 2005 when Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. Since the park was located right next to Lake Pontchartrain, the water flooded into the park and the drainage pipes just couldn't keep up. After all was said and done, the park was under 20 feet of water and it took more than a month to drain. How screwed up is that? Due to the major wind and water damage, the park was closed indefinitely, and I don't think you guys realize how bad it actually was. 80% of the buildings were demolished, every single flat ride was destroyed, and the one ride that kind of survived was the Batman the Ride roller coaster. The company didn't want to rebuild the park since it was their least profitable one anyway and tried to leave their 75-year lease, but the mayor was like, nah, you have to rebuild. Either way, the park's donezo. Coming in at number 9 is AUTOWORLD. Located in Flint, Michigan, AUTOWORLD was an indoor theme park that started its operation back in 1984. The plan was to try and get tourists to come to Flint, and at its grand opening, the governor even said it would trigger the rebirth of the great city of Flint. It took 2 decades of planning, and it opened with a huge parade and a lot of media attention. It was predicted that it would bring in 1 million guests a year, but by the fall of that year, the numbers were already going down. The attractions included a replica of historic downtown Flint, a cabin with mannequin Jacob Smith inside of it, a Ferris wheel, a carousel, a historical carnival ride, and more. By December of that year, it was announced they'd only be open during weekends, and by January they'd closed it down completely. Yes, the park opened for brief periods over the next few years, but by 1994 it was permanently closed. Damn, what a rough go. Didn't even last 1 proper year of being open full time. Yikes. At number 8, we have Six Flags ASTROWORLD. Am I the only one that thought Six Flags made some deal with Travis Scott and it was going to be somehow related to him? I was going to be like, I'm the highest in the room, and then I realized I got it way off. Opened in 1968, ASTROWORLD was a seasonal park located in Houston, and it was actually meant to be part of Astrodome initially, but was sold to Six Flags in 1975. The park had 10 themed areas, and its water park sister WaterWorld became part of it in 2002. There was a 610 limited train, Alpine Valley, and Oriental Village. I just hate the word Oriental to describe things in the West. Like, I know for a fact by Oriental Village they mean an East Asian inspired theme, and Oriental just feels like they're trying to other you, and I just don't like it. Anywho, rant over. Anyway, on the 12th of September 2005, it was announced that ASTROWORLD would be closing and getting demolished. Despite wanting to sell it for $150 million, they ended up selling it for $77 million, which is a shocking loss. Filling at number 7 slot is Six Flags Dubai. Again, another knife to the heart with this one. First Dubai Land and now this. Now, the planned theme park was in the works for years and was initially meant to open way back in November of 2011. Then, due to a failed payment, the contract was terminated but then revived and scheduled to open in 2019. And it was going to be colossal, taking up 5 million square feet. It had 27 rides with rides themed after other Six Flags locations like Magic Mountain from the California location, etc. The construction of the park stopped in 2018 since Dubai already has 3 other huge parks, Legoland Dubai, Motion Gate Dubai, and Bollywood Park, and none of those were pulling in the numbers they wanted, so the shareholders were like, maybe this isn't in our best interests, and just ditched the project. Now at number 6 is WYANDOT Lake. This park had humble beginnings, it kind of like started from the bottom, now we Operating as a picnic and recreational park way back in 1896, in the 40s it was changed into winter storage for carnival rides, but slowly but surely they started adding rides like the Jet Flyer. In 1995, Premier Parks bought the property and they decided to keep the park's name and continue operating. Fun fact, basically Premier Parks was what Six Flags was called before obviously they changed the name and acquired the Six Flags company. By 2006, Six Flags revealed they had been losing money from the park every year since 1999, and that they were going to sell it to Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. The latter invested something like $45 million to redevelop the whole place, whereas Six Flags was like, I'm not doing that. Nope. Coming in at number 5 is Six Flags Atlantis. I used to hate water parks as a kid since I couldn't go with my glasses, and because I didn't wear contacts back then I just could not see and it just pissed me off. Anyway, as you could have guessed, Six Flags Atlantis was a water park in Hollywood that opened up back in 1979. Well, initially it was a private venture called Atlantis the Water Kingdom, but they didn't have enough money to finish it, so Six Flags was like, here we are, sell it to us. Now, the water park included a lake with water ski shows, a wave pool, 7-story slide tower, and more. Now, unfortunately, due to another hurricane, Hurricane Andrew, the park was hugely damaged in 1992 and it was closed and auctioned off. Nowadays there's a cool plaza that takes up the space. There's now a Kmart instead of a wave pool, so I mean a downgrade for sure, but I mean times are tough, you guys. And number 4 is Six Flags Power Plant, which sounds like the shittiest theme park ever. Like, how is that name appealing at all? Hey guys, do you want to have fun at the power plant? Like, no, that has no ring to it. Located inside the Inner Harbor district of Baltimore, Six Flags acquired the property in 1985 and tried to turn it into an indoor theme park. This was their chance at making basically AUTOWORLD 2.0, and it was actually more successful than its predecessor, but it also closed down very quickly and transformed into a Hard Rock Cafe, then a Gold's Gym, a Barnes & Noble, and so on. Filling at number 3 slot is Warner Bros. Movie World Germany. So this park started off as a family-owned thing back in 1967 and was sold to numerous different people throughout the years. In 1994, Warner Bros. Bought it and started building what was Warner Bros. Movie World Germany and had the grand opening 2 years later. It had a bunch of attractions and rides and was split into 7 different areas. There was the Hollywood Street set, which showed Area 51, the Lost Temple, and Looney Tunes 4D. There was a Streets of New York thing, Nick Clan, Santa Monica Pier, the Old West, and so on. By the end of 1999, they had sold it to Premier Parks, which is again what Six Flags used to be called, but the other attractions that came in the following years made the park very unpopular. Families stopped coming, and soon even adrenaline junkies stopped coming, and that's when you know it's bad, when even they stop coming. Eventually, they sold it to Star Parks and they opened it as Movie Park Germany, which is what it still currently is. Now at number 2 is Six Flags Worlds of Adventure. Initially opening at Geauga Lake in 1887, this recreation area was bought by Premier Parks in 1995 and renamed to Six Flags Ohio. Then with the acquisition of SeaWorld Ohio, the two parks became Six Flags Worlds of Adventure, and I don't even think I have to go into how problematic and bad SeaWorld is. You guys know, you've seen the documentary Blackfish, I don't have to tell you. Now the park got 20 additional new rides including Roadrunner Express, Villain, Batman, Night Flight, etc. They wanted to add rides to SeaWorld as well, but by combining the parks, SeaWorld created the biggest theme park in the world at that time. The SeaWorld side stayed the wildlife area featuring mainly marine shows, well not really shows, more like exploitation and entrapment and depression and just not treating the animals right, but anywho. They then expanded that side further by adding Hurricane Mountain, which was the largest water slide in North America, which is ridiculous. Sadly, by 2004 they were facing high debt and sold the park to Cedar Fair, who closed down the park in September of 2007, and good riddance to those. And finally, at number 1 is Wild Waves and Enchanted Village. The park has a super long history as well, so it opened up as the Enchanted Village back in 1977 and was hugely popular in the summer in the Washington area. It had around 6 rides and took up 12 acres, but in 1984 the Wild Waves water park was built right next to it. Then in 2000, Six Flags bought it for $19.3 million, and at this point it had expanded to 70 acres with over 20 rides. They thought of splitting the park into 2 separate parks in 2016 to make more money, and it worked, but they had this whole park hopping ticket thing that was super complicated that all the customers just hated, so they were like, okay, let's not do this. In 2007, they sold the park to CNL Income Properties, and it's a good thing they did too, because in 2016, there was a drowning incident in the activity pool. You know what I mean? A 33-year-old man had drowned, which a bunch of kids had reported to the lifeguard, but initially they thought he was just playing a prank on them by lying at the bottom of the pool, but they stopped laughing once they realized that guy truly be dead. And that is it for today's video, guys. Let me know if you've been to any of the Six Flags. I haven't, and I know at the start of the video I said it doesn't seem like a bad theme park, but they kind of do seem like bad theme parks now, so I kind of don't want to go. Either way, I've been your host, Eamon Hassan, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye! I'm hot right now. It's hot in here. The attractions included a replica. The attractions included a replica. They're just breathing. You know how it is. Just having a little breath. Eventually they sold it to Star Parks and they opened it as Movie Park Germany, which is what it is today still. Should I do that again?